Hey everyone, it's Mari with CCM Magazine. I am here at Ocean Way Studios with Paul Mills. And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to toot his horn just a little bit because he's that silent humble that is just so amazing. You hear that music that comes alive on the movies, such as War Room, and what else do you got for us?
Woodlawn.
Woodlawn. And now we're here actually scoring the music. Well, you're recording it now.
Yes.
For Indivisible. That's an upcoming film and it's going to be amazing. He's taking us behind the scenes. But first we want to get to know him a little bit more, the man behind the music. So hey Paul.
Hey, how's it going, Mari?
Amazing now. I mean, I've already been moved and touched already just by getting to hear your players, and so thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is my favorite part of the process. In fact, usually by the time I get to this process, I've been through a big writing, composing marathon, and so I'm a little tired and weak, and then I hear these beautiful players bring it together, and so there's a lot of times when I kind of lose it and try to be manly, but the tears flow. So, but that's always great.
It is, and that's great. And I see that you guys have become like a big family. So you've known some of these people for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
What's that like now?
Well, like for instance, Bobby Shin, my chief engineer and production coordinator, he can read my mind. I mean, because he came to me when he was just, just barely in the business and was helping me record things and produce records. He was basically the guy that wrapped up the cables, but now he knows everything, and I've mentored him, and so it's almost like he can just definitely read my mind. So when we're doing an orchestra session like this, I let him communicate with the orchestra players because he works with them all the time. And for me, it's just like I can just sit back and listen to it, and if there's something that I need, then I go, hey Bobby, can you roll back and do that? And so it's awesome. And then my orchestrators, like David Davidson, I've been with him forever. I think he's just a world-class violinist.
Amazing.
And he pulls my heartstrings with the way he plays.
No pun intended.
Exactly. And the way he makes everybody play, he kind of runs the session out in the room when the players, and he'll say, hey, let's go back and do that. Let's double that line, or let's put more into that. He's always putting in the heart and emotion. So yeah, the family thing is great. We
makes it easy to come to the office and come to work, right?
Yes, it does.
And it's pretty awesome that your office today is Ocean Way Studios, because this is a beautiful facility.
Yes, it is. It's becoming, no kidding, this sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not an exaggeration. It's become world-renowned for a place to come do scoring for films, both theatrical films and TV and video games.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't like GarageBand or playing on your phone with an app. How do you even get to the process of even getting this music for the film? How does it work? What happens up here?
Well, you have to be a film aficionado. Okay. You have to listen to film and listen to film music, and not just modern film music, but some of the classic things. Even back, I don't know, some people won't be familiar with this, but the old black and white TV show Twilight Zone. Okay. A lot of the composers that people know, like Jerry Goldsmith, got their start in TV doing that stuff. Bernard Herrmann, who did all kinds of Alfred Hitchcock movies. Those are some of the people that I listened to this from long ago. And then you've got the modern composers like Hans Zimmer and Thomas Newman and James Newton Howard. These are the people that you need to listen to become familiar with the vocabulary of film music and how things are written and composed, what the strings do, and what happens. There really is sort of a film music vocabulary that the audience is familiar with. Wow. They may not know it, and so your job is to use some of those kinds of things to help move emotions the way the director wants to move, but you have to do it in a way that's not manipulative. You have to be sneaky about it. Yeah. Because otherwise people, they'll go, well, the music's just making me feel this way, or it becomes too much like a soap opera or something. Yes. So you have to listen to the way these guys are doing that, and then you sort of have to, I don't know, you kind of have to have a sixth sense about, there's some scenes in this movie, and if I had gone
this movie Indivisible, right?
Indivisible,
okay,
yeah. And if I had gone too far, it would become sappy, because there's some sad moments in here, and if you just crank up the sad music, then it sort of cheapens the moment. And you don't want to do that. So
you got to find that balance of inspiration, moments of sadness, just moments of happiness, all of that, and then just work it all into one. That's incredible.
Yeah. And now one thing that I did too, in addition to being a film buff, of course, I went to school and I went to a university and got a composition degree. So I learned all about orchestrating and the nuts and bolts of how low can a violin play and how high can it play and what does it sound like when it's written this way. And so you actually do have to kind of, if you want to really get into it, you kind of have to study.
Yeah.
You have to study it. You don't have to go to school. There's tons of books and videos to watch on TV. I mean, on YouTube and places like that.
Thank God for YouTube.
Yeah, it's a great instruction for just about anything. You can find there on YouTube. You can find Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL and all these different film composers, and they're telling you how they do it.
Amazing. So what's really your greatest accomplishment? What are you most proud of? You've just done so much. So what are you working on or have worked on that you feel has been your biggest baby and you're just so proud of?
I don't know if I have one or not. I mean, of course, now when I did the Kendrick Brothers War Room, which a lot of people liked that movie, and it was very successful.
Yes.
That God really blessed me through that movie, because that, I had done movies before that, and I don't know if you knew it, but I've done a lot of production, Christian music production and stuff like that. But War Room really opened doors for me to be able to find a manager like Greg Lucid, and there's some guys in LA that are helping me. Like I have a composer agency out there that Greg helped me get, and
perfect.
And so they're opening up other avenues for me. And then once it's a lot of times it's not fair, because I feel like what was funny is when I was first talking to my composer agent in Los Angeles, we were just having a conversation like this. I hadn't signed with him yet. And I said, I feel funny because I feel like there's probably, 1,000 guys out there who could have done what I did, but everything converged and God brought me to this place so that it happened for me. And his response was, maybe 100. Not 1,000. But I thought that was funny that he said, yeah, there probably are 100 people that could do it like you do. But
it's because you are just so amazing, and I think that God honestly did orchestrate that, and He did choose you for that, because you are amazing, you are humble, you have the gift and everything, and I love that you actually shout Him out, and you're not ashamed of that, and I think He has a big handle in that. And for you to be on a film such as War Room, that opened up doors for you because you were putting Him first. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us, That is scriptural, seek ye first the kingdom, putting Him first. And He opens up so many doors for you. And we see you doing that. And thank you for being an inspiration, a man of God for us to follow as well. So.
Well, and I just want to say, when you're trying, you may be wanting to be a film composer, or you might want to be an artist, or you might want to be a personality, or somebody that does things let's face it, we're in the entertainment business, and it can be intoxicating, and you really, and I'm not immune to it. So a lot of times when things have happened and people have given me kudos for doing War Room or Woodlawn, or like people that I work with even are patting me on the back, and you have to kind of be careful. You don't want to be weird about it, but you have to be careful, because I really do believe on this movie and movies that I've done that anything good is coming from God, and a lot of times I'm just sort of a conduit, because this is something that you'll think I'm just blowing smoke, but I'm really saying this. On all these movies, a phenomenon that happens is I'll get through the movie and I will go through the mixing process, and the movie comes out, and then in a week or two I'll go back and just listen to the music, and I'll go, I don't even remember writing this piece. Where did that come from?
Amazing.
I don't remember where that came from. And
because that's when you actually get to sit down and breathe and hear, hey, I just did that, or you just did that, or what happened, right?
I think what happens is God has orchestrated it all the time, where I get on these projects, and usually there's always a little bit of a pressure cooker towards the end of trying to get everything done and in on time. things take longer than you think. There's other distractions, maybe sickness or or something like that. But I think God orchestrates it so that when I get it done and I look back on it, there's no way I can say I did that.
Exactly. That's amazing.
I have to. It's completely obvious to me that God made it happen.
That's so beautiful, and it's so beautiful that you recognize that. A lot of us, you know, we don't do that. And I saw you up there just a few moments ago directing, but I knew that God was actually directing through you. And so it's great that it's also visible. You don't just, you know, say it, but you're actually living it. So props to you.
And that's like I said before, if I'm a good leader, I'm not a shouter or a demander. I want to lead people and be kind to people. Like, I have been in the places like where the assistants here. You know, I've been an assistant. There was a time when I was assistant. Or
started from the bottom, now we here, you know?
Yeah, and I've had, I've had some bad experiences. I've worked with all kinds of people as coming up in that support, you know, arena. There's been shouters and yellers, but then there's been the people that, for some reason, you just had such respect for them, and they glowed some kind of aura that made you respect them, and the proof was in the pudding with what they did and how they treated people. So I've always wanted to be that kind of person that treated people. That I don't get an intern to work for free. If I have an intern or somebody does something for me, I want to pay them. I want you know, workman's worth their hire, and I don't want to muzzle the ox, and I want to bend over backwards.
That's amazing. Kind of well, that's why you're in the position that you're in. Leave the yelling to me. I'm Latina. You know, I talk fast. I'm loud. I got you. I'll be your little bodyguard.
That sounds great.
So tell us a little bit more about you. I mean, we know that you do these amazing scores and you do these films and everything, but I also hear that you're a producer, engineer, mastering, everything. Come on, give me all the scoop.
Well, it's funny. I've always wanted to do film scoring, but there hasn't. It's doing faith films, as they call them, is a recent phenomenon. And so back in the day, you know, I wanted to do film scoring and like score with orchestra. I went to school and learned about doing stuff for orchestra. But I started in Houston, and I got hooked up with some guys at a local recording studio. And I was just, I was like the low guy on the totem pole. I learned how to engineer. I had an engineering background, so that's the guy that twiddles all the knobs and makes the sounds and hooks up the microphones and stuff like that. Well, since I was the low guy on the totem pole, I always had to work the graveyard shifts, so I was working with people who would come in and want to work from like 10 at night till 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I worked with a lot of R&B bands in Houston.
Wow, and, you wouldn't be able to tell. You got like a 900-pound black lady in there.
I know. Well, and it's funny too, because pretty much on most of those sessions, I was the only white guy in the room.
Wow.
And but for some reason, they I don't know. I just did the best I could for whoever came in. And what was good for me was I learned so much about rhythm and about groove and about how to make song, how to have a vibe.
So do you dance like a white boy, or?
Oh, I dance like a white boy.
Okay. You want to show us one of those moves?
You don't want to see
I think they would love to see that.
You don't want to see that. You have to cut that.
So you got rhythm with music, but not in the physical. We'll work on that.
Exactly.
We're going to go to a salsa class after. Pound it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
See if they can pull a miracle.
All right.
But through that time, I started hooking up with some different people in contemporary Christian music. So I did probably 3 records with Wayne Watson, and I was an assistant engineer on several Petra records back in the day, and the early Twila Paris stuff. And then the stuff I did with Wayne, I ended up moving to Nashville from Houston to work with people. So once I moved to Nashville, I did like one of the latter Imperials records. I worked with Twila Paris on a couple of records.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while. She's amazing.
I know. And then I did a little band of 3 guys that nobody had ever heard of called Phillips, Craig and Dean.
Yes.
I did their first record and probably did, I probably did 5 or 6 records for them, including a Christmas record. And they were just, they were massively successful, so that helped me get more work. And so.
Thanks, Phillips, Craig and Dean.
Yeah, exactly. And So during that time, I was producing, and then I also started mixing. I was usually mixing my own stuff, so I learned about. I mean, I love to mix. I love to produce, and so I've mixed for people. I mixed a Newsboys single, and mixed a Third Day Live record, and
Okay.
and then that production background, the being able to produce songs for people,
Yeah.
helped me when I worked on the movie I Can Only Imagine. I did all the song productions of the early. We wanted those early Mercy Me songs
Okay.
the way they would have done them before they got a record deal.
Yeah, amazing.
To make it sound like.
How did you do that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you want to make it sound like four guys. You know, there's four guys in a band out on the road, and what would that sound like? So
Yeah.
I got some of my compadres that I usually use for when I produce records, and we got into a studio and we got those songs and we said, okay, let's break these down. And you guys are seasoned, but I want you guys to sound like you're 19 or 20, and you're on the road, and make it simple.
Like a little garage band, really.
Yeah, no finesse, and what would that sound like?
Was that hard to do? Because when people are professional and stuff, to like tone it down. It's like me when I'm like wearing my prom dress to Walmart, and then they tell me that I have to wear just like yoga pants or something. It's really hard to tone down and scale down. So is that the same way with music?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, but I think all those guys can kind of remember back in the day, because most of the great studio players, they started out playing on the road with somebody.
Okay.
And they were young, maybe fresh out of college, and they got a gig playing guitar for somebody on the road. And so I think everybody can remember those days and what it was like. And a lot of it too is you just kind of here's the chord chart, here's the song, here's how it goes. What's your first gut reaction, and don't think about it.
Perfect.
And so we just did all that stuff. And what was neat is the directors, Andy and John Irwin, were there, and producer Kevin Downs. And so they were kind of there too as the barometer, and Bart Millard was there.
Okay,
and
amazing.
so we were able to sort of get it pretty historically accurate as far as just being simple, but with a lot of youthful energy.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did, and so the production value, the production experience, and the mixing experience came in for that. Very handy.
Great.
Yes.
All right, so that's why it's important to take every role.
Yeah, and
literally like a music janitor. You come in and you clean up. And
exactly.
You do everything,
Well, and in today's music business, until you kind of figure out what you're going to do, really, the more hats you can wear, the better.
Yeah.
If you can do those things
well.
Or wigs. Exactly. Yeah, you got to be able to do more than one thing, because if you can only do one thing, and a project comes along and it's not exactly that thing, then you might miss the gig.
You're out, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, not everyone can be like you, so there's that. Okay, so this man has done it all, but what I want to ask you next is what's next? You have gone from the production side of things. We talked about the mastering, the mixing, the engineering, the movies, everything. What's next?
Well, I think I'm really happy doing film scores, and if God can keep me busy doing that in some sort of film production, as far as either songs or scores, I think I'll be really happy. This movie comes out in October, and I'm really pleased. I feel like I pushed myself on this movie to try to do something that I haven't done before musically. You're always trying. I think that's the same way with artists.
Yes.
They're always trying to do something on the next record. I'm trying to do something on the next film score.
So you think ahead all the time too, as well. So you're trying to stay caught up, but then you're also thinking ahead.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm trying to think of, okay, how can I best represent this score thematically and compositionally? And what can I do different? And I may go, oh no, I did that. I've done that before. I want to do something different. So that's this movie, Indivisible, and I already am slated to do another movie in the fall, the new Kendrick Brothers movie, which hasn't been named. They're the guys that did War Room.
Okay, perfect.
And so
they must have liked your first gig. I guess you did all right. You
Well, they did, and I need to send a shout out to them, because Stephen and Alex Kendrick are really the reason that I'm doing Indivisible.
Wow. Okay, so thank you guys.
Yes, thank you very much. I got a call from Steven, and he said, hey, I've got this movie you need to watch. And what was funny is this other producer that I'm working with on another movie, he said the same thing. Hey, I've got another movie I want you to look at.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was the same movie.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. So it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You were literally like well, I call him Chiquitito because he's so little. So like we literally like found you in the corner of the earth, this little guy, and you were it. Tag, you're it. God was like, done, you're in.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I'll be doing that, and I don't know what's on, further from that. What I would like to do is, it's been a busy season.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful
Yes.
son, and I love them dearly, and I would like to get it to where I work smarter. I've begun to sort of mentor other composers underneath me, and to kind of give them breaks, but also to teach them things, to teach them what I've learned. Maybe they can.
So you can get some more family time too, right?
Yeah, to be able to delegate. I mean,
Yeah.
I delegate a lot of stuff. That's how Bobby helps me a lot is I delegate
Yeah.
a lot of the engineering stuff to him. But I'm starting to find some of these guys that I can actually delegate some things in the film scoring world too.
Perfect.
But I would like to spend more time with my family.
What do you like to do for family time?
I like to cook.
What do you like to cook? Tell me, because I like to eat.
I like to cook. I like to cook everything. I watch Beat Bobby Flay on the cooking shows.
I love the Food Network.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Guys Grocery Games.
Yes, and Chopped.
Yes, I love that
Diners,
stuff.
Drive-ins, and Dives.
Yep.
It's amazing.
I like to, Kathy and I like to go shopping, and we'll, like this, we're taking a 4-day weekend after this big marathon.
Okay, where are you guys going?
We're just going to stay at home. I'm going to go get some steaks.
Staycation, great. Okay.
I'm going to get some steaks.
Staycation.
That's right. A staycation would be awesome. So I got a nice grill. My son just bought a smoker, so we're probably going to cook.
Ooh.
We're going to cook some stuff this weekend. But I like trying new recipes. I mean, I like making breakfast. It's one of my favorite things to make.
Really? I've never heard someone be like, I just want to make breakfast. It's usually dinner, dessert.
I can make great omelets.
Wow.
And I've got the whole diner breakfast. Eggs over easy, bacon, toast, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
I've got all that.
Well,
down.
I'm going to come over and test just to make sure,
That sounds
for
great.
quality control.
But I want to do that.
Wait, one second.
But I would love to spend more time in the future. From here on out, I'd like to work smarter and less, and still be able to do stuff, but spend more time with my family.
Okay, so besides family time and music, what do you do for your time? How do you even get those creative juices moving? Is it the cooking? Is it, what is it?
If I need to unwind, I like to cook.
Okay.
And if I need to unwind but still feel like I'm doing something to further my knowledge, then I'll watch movies.
Okay.
Or even some of the TV shows that are out.
Are you even watching the actual movie and the acting? Or are you just listening to the music and you're like, how can we fix this?
Well, what's weird is I'll watch them. There are a couple of series that I watch, and then movies that I'll watch, and I try to just watch it all the way through first, but then I go back and study it.
Oh, okay.
Because it doesn't, and this is another thing for those young film composers out there. You can buy film scores, and you should be listening to film scores a lot, but you don't know. That doesn't tell you how they use it in the scene.
Yeah.
How did they score this scene to where, well, there's a lot of dialogue in this scene, so what's the music doing? Or this is an action sequence, and how do you stay out of the way of all the explosions and the gunshots?
Yeah.
With something that still pumps in the music. So,
interesting. Yeah.
All those little things. So I'll do that. I'll watch movies and try to take mental notes.
What's your favorite movie?
Well, I like Inception.
Ooh, okay.
It's an older movie, but I've probably seen it 15 or 20 times. I like the music. I think it's amazing what Hans Zimmer did with 4 chords, to make a complete score out of it.
Yeah.
And but then I just love the way the whole thing is kind of twisted around. So I like that movie. Now this is from one extreme to the other, and this is probably something you might not think, but I like Sense and Sensibility, which some people would consider a chick movie, but I think it's just a perfect movie.
Was that with Kate Winslet?
Uh-huh.
Oh, of course, yes, I do love that movie.
And Emma Thompson.
Boom, okay, great.
And I thought what was great about that movie is it had, I can't remember his name now, but he was the bad guy in the original Die Hard. And in this movie, he's just a softie. He's just, and so that shows his range as an actor.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, hey, tell us one thing that nobody knows about you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
You don't know? Dang, we want to know. We want to know the nitty gritty.
What's something that somebody doesn't know about me? When I graduated from this is kind of cool, I guess. Nobody knows this except for my very, 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 very closest friends. When I graduated from high school, I needed a summer job, so I got a job with what's called North American Underground, which is a fancy name for a company that digs sewer lines and installs sewer lines for new subdivisions.
Talk about from the bottom all the way up. Literally, you were in the sewer, in the trenches.
I was actually digging ditches.
Wow. You don't smell like it anymore. You smell like money now. So I think he's doing pretty well. Amazing. Well, he's not a sewer boy anymore. He's killing it in the music scene. It's been so fun getting to know him and his beautiful heart. And soon I'll be at his house having omelets.
Yes.
So, you know.
Steaks and omelets.
Stay tuned.